তোমার কথা কিন্তু হচ্ছে সবাই।
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Baba. So am I good to start?
Yep. Hare Krishna, please.
Okay. So Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Woman Kshetra's Friday class. We'll start with the usual Jai Radha Madhav. So please sing after me. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari.
Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradhari.
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 Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana,
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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari,
Yamuna Tira Vanachari,
Yamuna Tira Vanachari,
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava, जय कुञ्ज बिहारी।
Jai Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Right. Welcome everyone. Uh, Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam
Namaskritya
Namaskritya
Naram
Naram
Chaiva
Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtakayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati
Bhagavati
Uttama
Uttama
Shloke
Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanaභaya Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangrahe. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thanks for joining in. So today we will start with chapter number 4, Bhagavad Gita, verse number 37. Um, am I okay to share my screen? Vasu Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, you're okay. You can.
Okay.
The permission is on.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So we'll just repeat. We'll just do verse a couple of rounds, and then we'll see the translation in perfect. So please repeat after me. यथेधांसि समिद्धोऽग्निर्.
यथेधांसि समिद्धोऽग्निः
You can unmute yourself and repeat. भस्मात् कुरुते अर्जुन
Bhasmat
Bhasmat
Sat Kurute
Satkurute
Arjuna.
Arjuna
ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि
Jnanagni
Jnanat
Sarvakarmani.
Karmani
भस्मात् कुरुते तथा
Bhasma
Bhasmasat
Sat
Kurute
Kurute
Tatha
Tata.
यथा यथैधास्मि समिद्धोऽग्निर्
Yathe Dasmi
Tamsi
Samidhogni.
Samyogni
भस्मात् कुरुते अर्जुन
Bhasma
Bhasmat
Sat Kurute
Kurute
Arjuna.
Arjuna
ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि
ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि
भस्मासत् कुरुते तथा.
भस्मासत् कुरुते तथा.
Okay, we'll quickly do the synonyms and then get into the translation. So, yatha, just as, I'll just read it. Yatha, just as, ethamsi, firewood, samidha, blazing, agni, fire, bhasmasat, ashes, kurute, turns, Arjuna, O Arjuna, Jnana Agni, the fire of knowledge, Sarva Karmani, all reactions to material activities, Bhasma Sat, to ashes, Kurute, it turns, Tatha, similarly. Okay, so I'll just read the translation. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burns to ashes all reactions to material activities. Uh, okay, so that's the verse. Before we get into the details of the verse, let's do Mangalacharan. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथां वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखावितांश्च. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते. तत्वकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. तत्वकांचन गौरांगी पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा
कृष्णा
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे हरे
हरे
राम
राम हरे राम राम
राम
राम
राम
हरे
हरे
हरे.
हरे.
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
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 कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे
हरे.
हरे
हरे राम राम राम
राम
राम
राम
हरे
हरे
हरे.
हरे.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा
कृष्णा
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे
हरे.
हरे.
हरे
हरे
राम
राम हरे
राम
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 राम हरे
हरे
हरे.
हरे. All right, so let's so this in the previous verse we learned um, that even if someone is a total sinner, completely into sinful activities and has a good chunk of vikarmas to his favor, even that sort of person, when they get when they sit on the platform of devotional services or transcendental knowledge, the miseries in life, the knowledge burns it all. So, previous verse talks about how the transcendental knowledge burns off your vikarmas, your negative karmas. This verse will go next level up, where we'll move from understanding the impact of transcendental knowledge on your vikarmas to your good karmas. This verse will be an interesting verse because it talks about not only bad karmas or bad actions get totally nullified, but it's also the good karmas. So let's read the purport. So as Prabhupada says, perfect knowledge of self and super self of their relationship is compared herein to fire. This fire not only burns up all reactions to impious activities, but also all reactions to pious activities, turning them into ashes. There are many stages of reaction: reaction in making, reaction fructifying, reaction already achieved, and reaction a priori. But knowledge of the constitutional position of the living entity burns everything to ashes. When one is in complete knowledge, all reactions to a priori and a posteriori are consumed. In Vedas, Brihad Aranakya Upanishad 4.4.22, it is stated, Ubhe उभे उभे वैशा एते तरति amrita sadhva asadhuni. One overcomes both the pious and impious reactions of work. So, so here Krishna is now making us understand. So from here, as you can see, you can understand that the theory of karma is now in play. A lot of impacts of karma, you will see how it details out here. So, as I was saying in the previous verse, Krishna says all your negative karmas will be looked after if you are in the platform of devotional service, if you are in the transcendental knowledge, if you are acquiring transcendental knowledge. Here, Krishna says not only your negative karmas, but your positive karmas are also, they also get nullified. Now, this is where it gets interesting. That how many of us would like to completely dissolve our good karmas? Anyone? I don't think
We
anyone would.
like to, yes, yes, Prabhu, we like to, but whether we can do it or not is the question. We like to.
We'll see that today, bro. We'll see that today in our class. So, am I still sharing my screen? I don't see any reflection.
Yes, yes, Prabhu, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu, we can see the screen. It is for Bhagavad Gita 4.37.
Okay, cool. So, see, negative karmas, as we all know, negative karmas will give us negative results. So, let's say if a person has done all his life completely bad things, acquired all negative reactions from those negative karmas, what will happen to him? He will go to hellish planet. He goes to hellish planet, burns all his karmic reactions, and then go through all the 8.4 million species journey, and then finally somehow gets a human form of life. So that's pretty much the circle. And then again, if depending on his consciousness, his karmic activities, the next phase of life will be determined. But if I convert that more towards the positive side of things, so if someone who does all good karmas, all his life he has done good karmas, what do you guys think happens to him? Anyone?
Because he has done good karmas, he will be rewarded first for that. Because for a negative karma, you get negative points, and for any pious activity that you do, you get credit points.
So
So based on the credit points, you actually get a better life. That is one, where you get to enjoy more opulence in this life or maybe in the next life. And the third thing is, if that is not sufficient, then you probably get into higher planetary systems, maybe like Indra or Swarga and those other things.
yes, correct, bro. So let's assume that person goes to higher planetary system. He goes to Swargalok, and as we know, Swargalok is not a final destination. It's it's just a phase. So till the point you have your Sukriti, you will stay in Swargalok, and after that, once it's all consumed, you have to come back. So ultimately, if you see the result of this, if you expand that logic, so one goes to Swargalok, he or she burns all their karmic reactions, and then they have to come back to earthly planet. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Even if you do negative karmas, you go to hellish planet, you come back to the earthly planets and have and go through the phases of life. If you do good karmas, you go to heavenly planets, finish your sukriti, finish your quota of um, enjoyment and everything that you are supposed to get, and then you have to come back. So it's not a permanent destination. So if you understand these two things, then you will see the negative karmas is a poison, but the positive karma is also a poison, more like a sugar coated poison. You are still taking it. You won't get the negative effects now, but at the end of the day, at some point in the journey of the soul, those impacts will come through. So that's what Krishna is saying in this verse is this fire, if you focus on the second line, this fire not only burns up all the reactions to impious activities, but also all the reactions to pious activities, turning them into ashes. So this fire, what is this fire? This fire is this fire of knowledge. And what sort of knowledge we are talking about here? It's the transcendental knowledge. Can anyone define what is a transcendental knowledge? So it's a knowledge of three things. Keep it very simple. Knowledge of three things: soul, which is our soul. Everyone has got a soul. The super soul, which is Paramatma, and the relation between these two. That makes, if you can connect these three dots by Shastra, by definition, you have acquired the transcendental knowledge. Of course, it's not that simple. It is way more detailed to it. But if someone has got the understanding of soul, super soul, and the relationship between these two, then you are in a platform where you have transcendental knowledge. So with that knowledge, one can burn their the impious activities, the reactions to the impious activities, and the reactions to the pious activities. So even if, so the moment someone understands this logic, then there is no attachment. So the at the end of the day, what this verse is trying to teach us is, whatever we do, we should have the understanding. We should, with the transcendental knowledge, with the understanding of transcendental knowledge, one can acquire detachment. And with detachment, what happens is, one is not connected to the effects of the work. One is not the recipient of the positive or negative effect of that work. And that's, so if let's play it again. So if karma is something that at the end of the day takes you, brings you back in the earthly planets, and you have to go through again the same journey of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, all those things will happen, then what is it that one needs to do in order to get out of this? So karma is that which takes you here. So what it will be which won't take you here? Purely based on logic, try to answer this.
Something that is far supreme, which is the knowledge of the supreme, and
Yes.
her establishing the relationship with the supreme. That is called as devotion. That's the only thing that can take us out of this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. Of course, also from the higher planetary systems. It is beyond. That's why it's called transcendental. That is not on material plane. It's on transcendental. That is supreme plane.
Correct. So that's, with some shastric knowledge you can answer that. I was purely checking from logic point of view. So if karma takes you, brings you back to earthly planets, if karma takes you to heaven or hell and comes back, then it is the opposite of karma which can stop you going to heaven, going to hell, or going circling back into this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. So opposite of anything, as we know in Sanskrit, you put a in front of that word, that becomes the opposite of that word itself. So that noun itself. So if you put a in front of karma, it becomes akarma. Akarma. So that akarma is what we call as devotional service. So once you do devotional service, then this whole journey of birth, old age, disease, and death, all those things will be gone. In the later part of this purport, Prabhupada touches upon the reactions, not just the reaction, but also the phases of the reactions itself, which, if you go in detail, it's the prarabdha, then that concept will come up. But for us to keep it in a simple version, once we get into the transcendental mode, once we start acquiring the transcendental knowledge, then our suffering, our attachment is nullified. We start detaching us from the work. Since we start detaching us from the work, that doesn't produce another cause and effect. So the other thing we need to understand here is the cause and effect of any activity. So anything that we do, and if we connect that activity with our ego, then that produces a reason for another task, a reason for another karma. And once we accomplish the second karma, then that creates another reason for the third karma. So this cause and effect, one leads to the other, another leads to the other, another leads to the other. That whole cycle can can be totally stopped or can be totally nullified by if someone has the knowledge, if someone has the gyan, the transcendental knowledge, and and that's how they can detach themselves from the fruits or the effect of the karmas. So in a very short sense, what we have to understand from here is knowledge. A person in transcendental knowledge can keep themselves detached from the karma. Once you are detached from any activity, then the results don't impact you. If you're successful, it's good. If you're not successful, it's fine. It's an experience. You do it in a different way the next time. So that's this verse. The next verse talks about the fruits of the transcendental knowledge and how transcendental knowledge can be very useful. So, just one second. Right, let's go to the second verse. So, so let's chant this verse. Please repeat after me. Nahi jnanena sadrisham
Nahi
Nahi jnanena
jnanena
sadrishyam
sadrisham
pavitra hiya vidyate
pavitram iha
iha
vidyate
vidyate
tat swayam yoga samsiddha
tat swayam yoga
yoga
samsiddha
samsiddha
kale kale natmani vindati
कालेनात्मनि
कालेनात्मनि
विन्दति
विन्दति
nahi jnanena sadrisham
न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशम्
pavitram iha vidyate
पवित्रम् इह
पवित्रमिह
विद्यते
विद्यते
tat swayam yoga samsiddha
तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धा
संसिद्धा
kale natmani vindati.
कालेनात्मनि
कालेनात्मनि
विन्दते
विन्दति.
Okay, sorry, I forgot in the previous verse to ask someone to chant the verse. So can I get two individuals, maybe one Mataji, one Prabhuji, to chant this verse?
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं
Nahi
पवित्रमिह
jnanena
विद्यते.
sadrisham
नेक्स्ट लाइन प्रभु
तत् तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्ध कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
slowly. Oh,
तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धे कालेनात्मनि विन्दते
um, जोरे बोलो.
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृश्यम्
न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशम्
sadrisham
पवित्रमिह विद्यते
पवित्रम्
pavitram
इह विद्यते
तत् स्वयं योगसिद्धं सिद्धा
तत्
tat swayam
तत्स्वयं
yoga
योगसंसिद्ध
कालेनात्मनि विदन्ति
kale
कालेनात्मनि विन्दति
Okay, thank you. So we'll touch upon these synonyms. Na, nothing. He, certainly. Jnanena, with knowledge. Sadrisham, in comparison. Pavitram, sanctified. Iha, in this world. Vidyate, exists. Tat, that. Swayam, himself. Yoga, in devotion. Samsiddha, he who is mature. Kalena, in course of time. Atmani, in himself. Vindati, enjoys. Translation. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in this practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. So, purport. When we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. As such, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. This knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service, and when one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere. for he enjoys peace within himself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. This is the last word in Bhagavad Gita. So, so again, here Krishna is glorifying the transcendental knowledge. See here, the word kalena is very important to understand. It's the time factor we need to understand, that it takes time. In the previous part, we have seen that Arjun was very hellbound that I want to take sannyas. Why I want to take sannyas? Because if I take sannyas, then I can get everything. It's a solution for everything. I will be happy. I will be not the reason for getting the sins of killing all the or taking part in this war. But Krishna makes it very clear. No, it doesn't work that way. It's the time. It's Kalena. As we know, Prabhupada in few of his lectures gave us this understanding that Mayavadis, or those sannyasis who, even though they wear saffron, they leave families, they leave everything and try to, um, in search of salvation, in search of happiness, they totally cut off themselves from the social fabric. But still, we see there are a lot of downfalls, and it doesn't work that way. It has to come from within. So, how it works? So, as the puppet says, when we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. So, it has to be connected with this spiritual understanding, and spiritual understanding means that um, we need to detach ourselves. So this is how the two verses are connected. So what Prabhupada is saying here is, when someone works in a detached manner, and when someone works in the devotion, practices devotional service, the result of practicing devotional service, or the result of working in a detached manner, leads one to transcendental knowledge, which is the purification of our heart. So as you can see, it's not outside, it's inside. It's not wearing certain color of uniform, or doing certain activities externally makes you be in the transcendental platform. It's from internally, and that too with time. Kalena, you have to give time. It's like anything in life, right? Those of you who have seen, who have been into arts, or any learnings in your life, if you go to gym, you're not going to get your muscles build up in a week or two. You have to practice it, practice, 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 and then at some point they start coming up. So same thing, we have to practice devotional service for a good amount of time, in a detached manner, as per the instructions from our senior Vaishnavas and Acharyas. Then that will lead to the transcendental knowledge. Then the next line that talks about, as such, there is nothing so sublime and pure as the transcendental knowledge. Now, why is it sublime? Because it is transcendental. It is not something which is material. It is not something that can be contaminated by material influence, or anything which is material in this world. And why is this transcendental? Why is this so sublime? That's because this is Krishna's knowledge. This is not a mundane university professor who wrote Bhagavad Gita. This is coming straight from the Lord. Anything that is coming from the Lord is beyond the reach of any human comprehension. So it has to be, transcendental. It has to be untouched by the influences of material world. So it is not contaminated. That's why it is sublime and pure. So now the next sentence is very important, as it says, ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. Now, as we know, People, karmic people are usually not too focused in the spiritual realm, and that's why for them, lot many times you will see people talk, we only have one life, make the most of it. So they will work hard, do everything. Some come with a notion of we'll work hard, party hard, that sort of mindset. But then still they're not happy, they're not content in life. Today we have something, in one of the lectures I was hearing, the more you grow in your ladder of wealth, all that happens is it's just the brand that goes up. Your necessities still stays the same. Your ability to meet those necessities in terms of consuming, that still stays the same. These two are finite elements. The only thing that is growing is the brand name. Today you are some brand, tomorrow you will be at a higher brand, and then next day it will even grow higher. So that is not solving the problem, it's just giving a different element, a different tool with multiple functionalities to it. So it's not going to make anyone happy. With materialistic things, no one has ever become happy in their life. I was just in one of the other lectures, I was hearing Michael Jackson used to, he had an army of doctors who used to come and check everything, right from his hair to tip of his toes, to make sure that all his body, all his organ systems, everything working properly in conjunction. His his view was, I want to live eternally. Like, I don't want to die. But we all know he died. Doctors couldn't solve the problem, couldn't save him. So that's ignorance. That's an example of ignorance, and this is the ignorance which makes someone stay attached to their work, to their activities, to their achievements, to their karmas. And the more they get attached, as we just learned from the previous verse, the more you attached, the more that creates further work for you or further karmas for you, and that becomes the reason to get more attached. So it's a snowball effect. The more you get into it, it just keeps going up, 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 bigger and bigger and bigger. So the more you're attached, then what will happen is you will come back, you will take birth, in different forms of life, and this whole thing just continues till the point, as it says, knowledge, till the point we acquire transcendental knowledge, and that becomes the cause of our liberation. So knowledge is the cause of our liberation, and this knowledge is not any ordinary knowledge. This knowledge is the knowledge which connects us with the Supreme. This knowledge, what it means is, when someone starts, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, starts about inquiring about himself. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my relation with the Lord? Who's the Lord? And once someone starts acquiring or asking those questions, then it's Krishna's arrangement. Then he then sends one of the Vaishnavas, one of his devotees, to guide that person and show him the right path. And then slowly that thing. So this is where the two verses go hand in hand. Is once you get the knowledge and you start practicing it, you understand, I'm not just a body, I'm a soul, I'm part and parcel of Krishna. So what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to do bhakti, I'm supposed to do devotional services. And then that knowledge slowly then pulls that person into the spiritual platform. And it's slowly, at some point, you will then get detachment. You'll start detaching yourself from your mundane activities. So then later on, Prabhupada says, this knowledge is a mature fruit of devotional service, and when one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere. So this is the thing that I was saying, is even if someone is very has achieved a lot of things in their materialistic life, that's not going to give them happiness. Because the happiness is not external, it is internal. So those who search for happiness search for peace, search for contentment outside, they'll end up investing in a lot of other things, in assets, in with their friends, wine, women, men, everything else, everything apart from taking shelter of the Lord, or apart from associating with devotees. So, and it is because of this ignorance that they forget that happiness is not outside, it is within. I'll share a story. It's a very wonderful story. This was my initial days in Krishna consciousness. So there was a king who was very who always used to be in a distressed um, form for because of his kingdom, the administration, his wealth, everything. So one day he decided that I want to be happy. I want to be, no matter what happens, I want to stay happy. So he picks up, he calls one of his ministers and he says, "Go and find a person whom you feel is very happy, is super happy, no tensions, nothing, totally peaceful from inside." The minister said, "Yes, sir, we can do it." Then what? Then said, "Then take his kurta, take his shirt, and bring it here. No matter how much money you need, pay for him, but I need that dress." This is ignorance example 01. So so the minister goes, he goes from villages to towns to different cities, and all his work was go and find someone who looks happy and then interact with him and ask, "Are you happy?" And that person says, um, he would go and ask, "Oh, you look really happy, you must be the happiest person, everything in your life must be really good." Then anywhere and everywhere he goes, he used to get the a common response that, "Yeah, I'm happy, but you know what, I've got bills to pay, I've got this, that, and this makes me work so many hours. I've got my young sister whom I need to get married. I've got my kids whom I have to look after." So yeah, as much as externally it looks that I'm happy, but actually internally I'm not. And this story was with most of them, different reasons, but outcome is the same. They would give different reasons of why they are not happy, why they are not peaceful, but at the end of the day, they're not happy. They look happy, but they are not happy. So this minister, after spending months in finding a person who is super happy, who is happy, and who is actually happy and is also really happy, sort of almost given up. He couldn't find a person, and since he couldn't find a person, he couldn't take anyone's shirt. Then he finds a, uh, then he goes to a river bank, and then he finds a sailor, and this sailor is in his, is like someone who has just won a lotto, totally in a total happy state. He is, in India you have sailors, they totally their whole the earnings of that particular day decides how they're going to live the next day. So they pretty much run paycheck to paycheck, if I can use that word. So this fellow was on his boat, and he didn't wear anything, and he had one cloth and his pagadi, and he was waving and asking everyone that, "Come, come, come, sit, sit, sit. The boat is about to leave. Come, come." This minister goes, he sits, and he was actually checking what this person. So he was monitoring his movements, his actions, his way of dealing with others, and of course, if how long this person stays happy. So he sails to the other end. This man is still sitting, and he doesn't drop off. Everyone leaves, and then this man, the boatman does the same thing. He calls everyone that, "Come, come, sit, sit. I have to go. We are leaving quickly. Come." The minister is still in the boat. He doesn't leave. And when the boat gets packed up, he goes to the other end. And this time also he doesn't leave. And this happens for number of times. From morning till afternoon, this whole thing carries on. Then finally this boatman, out of curiosity, asks that, "Sir, where exactly is your destination? Where you want to go?" So Mr. says, "Don't worry, I've got enough of money. I can continue to be in this boat for next whole of your lifetime. So continue sailing across." So they did for a number of times. Finally, this boatman says, "Tell me what's, you're not here to cross the river. You're not after any banks. You're actually after something else. So what is it?" So he says, "I look you to be, a person who is in fully joyful state. I've not seen, even if the boat is going half packed, half empty, or half full. You're not. There's no question. There's no question mark on your face or nothing like that. So that makes me feel you are happy. Are you happy?" So then the boatman replies that, "Look, sir, I'm not that educated, but I know my life is in the hands of Krishna. So if I get anything or not, it's as much as it's my problem, it's more something which Krishna will look after. If he has looked after me yesterday, he will look after me today, and he's going to look after me tomorrow. So if things are not in my control, what to worry about? And even if I take things in my control, it's not going to work properly. So there's no need for me to worry about. As long as I know he's looking after me, i'm I'm in the game. I'm fine." So then he says, "But you're not wearing anything." Then the minister tells everything about his intention and his the task that was given to him by the king, that look for a person, and if you find someone happy, get his t-shirt or get his shirt. So the minister asks for his shirt. So he said, "I'm not wearing any shirt. I don't have any shirt to give you. The only thing I have is, in Bengali we say gamcha. That's the only thing I have." So then this minister goes back to his kingdom. He meets his king, and he summarizes his entire experience from visiting different villages, different streets, finally meeting a person who is actually happy. But my dear king, guess what? He doesn't wear anything. So then he summarizes saying, and this is I was hearing in Alal Govind Prabhu's lecture. So this is his words: "Maya ka das, sada udas. Krishna das, bindas. No worry at all. You stay under the protection of the Lord. Nothing to worry about. The moment you are connecting yourself with Maya, with the materialistic activities and influences, that's when your miseries, your unhappiness, your hankering will go up." So moral of the story is, the more we connect ourselves with the Lord, the more we try to see Lord in everything, and understand that, although since we are materialistic people, we are in Mrityu Lok, we can't see him like Prahlad Maharaj. But as long as we can feel him, we follow the guidance of our acharyas, shastra, and stay within the devotee community. Slowly, steadily, at some point we will get those realizations, and it's very personal. It's not something that worked for one will also work for other. So that's what this verse is saying. The knowledge, devotional, when one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search peace elsewhere. So peace is not outside. Peace, mental peace, happiness, is completely inside. And this peace, if anyone has to experience, it can only be experienced through transcendental knowledge. So transcendental knowledge is something which one should endeavor to get. If we're not, and to get it, and to get transcendental knowledge, one have to follow, or one have to get into the devotional services. Akarma is what we have to do. So and when the happiness has to come, it will come, no matter in which situation you are, no matter in which which part of life you are in, what journey you are in, it will come by itself. We learned in Bhagavad Gita itself, Matras Prashastu Konteya, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhada, Agama Paniyo Nitya, Stam Titikshasya Bharata. Just like winter and summer, these two seasons come and go at their own accord. Similarly, dukkha and sukha, happiness and distress, they also come and go at their own accord. So, if one is focused in doing, if one is focused in getting happiness, then that's an example of being in ignorance, and that is what Krishna is saying us to not do. Rather, use knowledge as a fire. And this is one of the very interesting things in Bhagavad Gita. You will see is Krishna uses such simple examples, very day-to-day examples, which we see across our day-to-day life. In the previous verse, he's saying to Arjuna that use, just like fire burns wood into ashes, understand that use this knowledge of fire and burn your karmas into ashes. Such a good example, such a good correlation, anyone will understand that. So here also he is using a similar sort of example where that happiness is an inner thing, it's an inner feeling. It has nothing to do with your outer achievements or anything material, which is your body related, not soul related. So, and happiness comes in its due course of time. So we should um, we should aim for receiving transcendental knowledge, and in real sense, in practical sense, what it means is someone who is in devotional service, in trying to achieve the transcendental knowledge. He can be like us, he can be one of us, but he's totally aloof from the worldly matters. Those things don't impact him. He will continue to work like any other person, any other material any other person who is in the material world. But he, since Krishna is at the back of his mind, he's going to relish something that's beyond this world, something that is transcendental, something. And that feeling, as I'm again repeating, is very personal. It's only when someone goes through that journey they can achieve those experiences. Lastly, Krishna, as he says, in other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. So, someone who is trying to achieve this knowledge and peace, you got to be in Krishna consciousness. You have to understand Krishna consciousness and follow it. Kalena, again, time is important. Everything in life needs time. Anything which happens quickly also gets destroyed quickly. Anything that demands time, deserves time, also sustains for longer. That's why this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. That is the last word in Bhagavad Gita. So basically, anyone who practices Krishna consciousness will get knowledge and peace, and the person will be able to relish higher, a different layer of happiness, because it's transcendental. It is outside the realm of material world. So I think that's all what I wanted to discuss today. In the next verse, Krishna will go into the role of faith in acquiring transcendental knowledge. So it's a journey which Krishna is taking us, starting from the negative, starting for an example where even if you're a sinner to a highest degree, doesn't matter. Get into the transcendental knowledge, get into the devotional services, and then slowly you will be detached. Slowly your negative karmas will be burned. If you're someone who thinks I'm a very positive person, I'm a very positive, a person who is always in positive, doing positive activities, still Krishna says, yeah, that's fine. those positiveness sounds good for now, temporarily, but long term it will have its the same impact. It will take you to the same destination as those negative reactions do. So burn them off. And then finally, Krishna gets into the faith concept, how or the role of faith in acquiring the transcendental knowledge. So as we move on, I think hopefully next week someone will cover that step by step, the levels of karma, its impact, and its impact to a wider consciousness, how it impacts. Those things are covered. So that's all for today. If you have any questions, please, yeah, if you have any questions, happy to take those questions. Questions, comments, feedback, anything. If not, thank you very much for listening the discussion attentively. We can stop here, Navasu Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much for your wonderful lecture. So we'll meet again next week.
Yeah.
Is there any questions for anyone who want to ask to Prabhuji before we conclude? I think that should be all, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki
Jai.
Jagat Guru Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. His Grace Nam Avatar Das Prabhu ji ki
Jai.
Jai.
समस्त
Gaur
गौर
Bhakta
भक्त वृंद की
Jai.
जय
Jai.
गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि
Hari.
हरि
Hari Hari Bol.
थैंक यू
Nice
वेरी मच
class, Prabhuji. Nam Avatar
Nice
Prabhu.
class,
Nice
Prabhuji.
class.
Thank you.
Nice class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Madhu. Hare Krishna.